Madness.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. This edition of Snowman in the Morning is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the code Snowman Multimedia for 20% off of your first order. Calling all small businesses. Want to get your name, products, and services out to a local and national audience that choose the 360-degree advertising option of Snowman Multimedia. This is the network where every fan has a voice and every team has a fan. And we want you to be a part of it. Call 317-762-8567 or drop an email to info at snowmanmultimedia.com. JJ sent me a comment during the break. Thoughts on if the first four should be a thing? JJ, here's your answer.
Woo! Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
I have someone better that you can ask this question to. Time for some Spivey notes. Jey Spivey joins us to talk all things NCAA tournaments, men's and women's tournaments. Good afternoon, Jay. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's March Madness time, man, and it's time to talk about the NCAA tournament. But I want to start with a question, and this is what Jason Joseph brought to us. Should the first four be a thing?
I have no problem with the first four. I know it's a money grab, but I wish they would do it differently than the way they do it. To me, they ought to do it. If they're going to do the first four, it should be the last 8 teams that got in.
Mm-hmm.
That way, they earn their way in. Instead of doing this every year, it's the same teams from the same conferences. Where it's the MEAC and the SWAC and the Northeastern Conference and one or two others. And to me, if you say you earn your way in by winning your conference tournament, and those teams did, then let them in the tournament automatically. Now these eight teams who are fighting for 4 spots, let them fight for it in the first 4.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll never do that because most of the time they're big conferences.
Yep. Most of they're most of the Power Five.
If you would have done that with it, probably from what we've heard yesterday, from who got left out, it would have been the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and the Big East probably.
Yes.
And they're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that.
Why do you think they're not going to do that?
It's all about money. Now, would you rather have, I really don't think Virginia deserves to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would you rather have Virginia in, or would you rather have Howard or Hampton or Grambling or somebody like that? I mean, I hate to be picky like that, but
Virginia's the draw. And like you said, I don't think they deserve to be in.
To me, and these kids, like in the MEAC and the SWAC, you never really gain automatic entry. They don't get the experience. They don't get the experience like the other conferences do.
No, they don't. They don't get the experience, and they don't get the exposure either.
I mean, if you play tomorrow night or you play Wednesday night, and you lose your first game, you get to go to Dayton. Whoopie do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not like playing in the tournament. It's not like the experience at all.
It's not. It's like, it just seems like another regular season game, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it's always the same. It's almost always the same 3 or 4 conferences.
Mm-hmm. And again, for me, the first 4, and this is why I said no, the first 4 just seems like another regular season game that they added on to the end of it after they've been through a regular season, they've been through a conference tournament, and no matter the result, they get an extra game. And I don't think they've earned an extra game.
They saw that CBS and Turner were willing to do it, and that's another however many $1 million more extra.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it.
And of course, that app is out now.
Yeah.
Where everybody can watch for free, but all you have to do is press a boss button in case your boss comes in. And then that's the end of that. to the women's tournament, and how big is the Caitlin effect going to be for the women's basketball tournament this year?
Well, somebody on that, somebody's on that committee must not like Caitlin or Iowa because they got by far the hardest regional.
Yep.
They got through. They got to go through Murderers Row every night, pretty much.
Except for the first round, they got to go through UCLA. They have to go through LSU. Connecticut, I believe, is in their region as well.
I mean, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not.
And I can see where somebody's on that committee, whether it be men or women's committees, would have some jealousy or envy for all the exposure she's gotten. But that's not her fault. She's doing nothing but helping the women's game.
And they don't see it that way.
No.
They don't see it that way. No. And it's wrong that they don't see it that way. She's done nothing, like you said, but help the women's game. But the jealousy, and we've talked about this before, Jay, the jealousy is very, very real.
Very much so. It's so palpable. You can just sense it. No matter whether you hear people say it or read people what their comments are, you can see it through anybody's blind eye.
Yep, I didn't get a chance to see the brackets last night, and you know how big I am about body language with people. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I've had so many people texting me this morning while I was on my drive to pick up my daughter that the jealousy look on their faces when they did that bracket, that part of that region, I beg your pardon, was crazy. And I believe it, with all the attention Caitlin Clark has gotten, the records that she has broken, and I want to talk to you about that in a minute. She's done nothing, as you said, but help women's college basketball really get on the map for the first time, I'd say, since 1993 with Cheryl Swoops and company, and even before that, in '82, their very first NCAA tournament.
Well, I know you and I've been talking about it for a while, and I've been talking about some other people, but I've heard the last couple of weeks, even what you would consider men's college basketball fans, or even I heard Tim Legler, who's an NBA expert that night, talk about she's his favorite player in all of basketball. And everybody says, well, I would rather watch her or good women's college basketball than men's college basketball because, first of all, the quality is not nearly as good as it used to be, and two, at least for women's basketball, for the most part, they're going to stay 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
I mean, they might go into the portal. They're probably going to go in the portal, but at least they're going to play 4 years.
Exactly. They're going to have their fundamentals down. You and I have talked about this for the length of time that we've been together on the show. The fundamentals in women's basketball are more sound than men's basketball.
No question.
They're more fundamentally sound. And I got my wife asked me this morning, am I covering the women's tournament? You better believe I'm covering the women's tournament. The team I'm going to follow is Iowa. I plan to do both Final Four games in the national championship, but given the growth that I've had in the past month or so, I'd be stupid not to follow the Hawkeyes, especially in that murderous rover region. Yeah,
they did her neither her nor Iowa any favors.
They don't want her. They don't want them to win.
And I generally don't care who wins because I'm a Wake fan. They never get in.
Right.
But I generally don't care. But I'd like to at least see Iowa get to the Final Four.
I'd love to see it. I have them winning it all. But if they do get to the Final Four, I already know one of the teams they're going to see is Dawn Staley in South Carolina.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the teams they're going to see is Dawn Staley in South Carolina. Speaking of South Carolina, how about those Gamecocks rolling in undefeated into the tournament?
And this is what you were, by talent-wise, yes, team-wise, they're really, really good. This is not one of her more talented teams.
Right.
She had to replace everybody from last year. Now, probably the next 2-3 years, they're going to be like really dominant. I mean, that's scary to even think about what they've done there for this year.
It is. It is to roll through the season undefeated. The only scare they got was in the SEC tournament against Tennessee, then the championship game with LSU, and they may see LSU again in the Final Four in Cleveland. Let's go back to a point that we've talked about that we've talked about before, and I will continue to harp on this because I'm a big time advocate for women's sports, especially women's college basketball. Why won't they play it in stadiums? The Final Four, that is.
Well, why
Like,
are they playing? They're playing the regionals in 2 different cities, and it's not even 2 big cities.
no,
They're playing
not.
the regionals in Portland and in Albany, New York.
Who selected those?
Really?
Who selected those? You can't tell me. You mean to tell me since they're going to play since they're going to play everything in 2 cities, Portland, Oregon, and Albany, New York. You mean to tell me you couldn't flip that Albany regional to Indianapolis and fill up Lucas Oil Stadium? What?
Well, if Iowa makes it to the Final Four, you tell me you couldn't fill up a dome somewhere?
It's sad that they're really, really saying that message. It's sad that they're, just putting that out there they're just putting that out there. The committee doesn't,
they would never do that for men. They would never do that for men's basketball.
No,
never.
They won't.
And you're going to put them in. I understand why they did it and put them in 2 regionals because it helped the crowds, but you can't at least put them in 4 regionals now and in larger facilities.
You mean to tell me they won't fill up? They couldn't fill up the United Center in Chicago? But I will tell you this: if the women's basketball tournament ever played Chicago, they wouldn't play the United Center. They play Wintrust Arena. A little over 12,000 at Wintrust Arena instead of putting it in front of 24,000 in the United Center. You mean to tell me that if Caitlin Clark is in the regional and you're hosting it at the United Center, that you couldn't get SRO at the United Center?
No.
Especially given the fact that Iowa City is not too far from Chicago. I made the drive.
Not she, but Iowa has sold out every non-neutral game this year.
Yep.
Home and away games are all sold out.
And a couple of those arenas, they set records. Like, I don't know, Ohio State perhaps, and Columbus. State. There has never, even for the men, there have never been a crowd of 18,000 plus in the Schottenstein Center. Caitlin Clark shows up and you got SRO.
And TV-wise, you've got some of the most watched games of all time with her playing.
The live stream I did for the Big Ten Championship with Nebraska and Iowa is my most viewed video with almost 5,000 views. And a lot of that came in the second half.
I haven't seen the game times for the women yet, but I'm assuming since I know you and I talked about this before too, but since ESPN can't show Big Ten games, I'm going to guess they're going to show Iowa quite prominently this weekend.
Yeah. ABC has the first Iowa game, and it's Saturday.
That explains all you need to know.
Yep. It's Saturday at 3:30.
The fact they put that on big ABC tells you all you need to know.
It's behind a paywall, and you know it. Why are they doing this to? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. Why are they doing this to the women's game? Why are they doing this to the women's coverage? I beg your pardon. That they're putting it's supposedly on free TV, but they're putting it behind a paywall.
Which game you talking about the paywall?
Iowa.
Well, if it's on ABC, it's not on the paywall. ABC's national.
True.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's probably why they put it on ABC.
Okay. I misunderstood.
To get more eyeballs on the game.
Yep, I misunderstood.
Because even in this age of cable cutting and people streaming everything, it's still you probably don't get more eyeballs on ABC than you would on ESPN.
Yeah, like they did last year in Dallas with LSU and Iowa for the national championship. Yeah. You couldn't play that at 7:00.
Well, apparently they're still going to play on Sunday afternoon again. I don't understand that.
I don't understand either.
Well, yeah, another thing, I was about ready to say this. They've done this last, 5, 6, 7 years now. Where years ago they used to announce the women's brackets on Monday night instead of Sunday night.
Yep.
Keep doing it on Monday night because, they announced the women's brackets at like an hour after the men's brackets were announced last night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you tell me who's going to really care about the women's brackets at 8:00 on Sunday night?
After the men's bracket had already been
announced. There's absolutely nothing on TV tonight. Show the women's brackets tonight.
What do you think prompted them to make the change?
It's ESPN.
There's my answer. Right there. There's my answer.
They run the women's tournament. They can do pretty much whatever they want to do with it. I don't understand why you do the women's brackets the same. I mean, not even the same night. You did it an hour after the men's brackets were announced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't care how hardcore fan you are of women's basketball.
Yeah.
Who's gonna pay attention to that after the men's brackets are announced?
Nobody. No one's going to look. And that's crazy. And that's crazy.
People
to me.
just not going to care.
Mm-hmm.
Now, meanwhile, tonight, if you had it tonight, you could talk about it ad nauseum because there's absolutely nothing on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are adding a couple NBA games I saw, but still.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad the way the women's game has been treated.
Well, at least it's a little better than it was the year of the COVID when I guess it was San Antonio where they got treated royally poorly.
Oh, it was bad.
Horrible.
It was bad. It was bad. And I hope I never, ever see that again.
It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. I hope I never see that again.
Well, I knew a couple of the girls who were playing for a local college because I covered them in high school, and I saw some of their comments, and it was just, I wouldn't say disgusting, but it was just, they shouldn't be treated that poorly. I mean, come on, it's just as much money as somebody's making on these two tournaments. Come on,
mm-hmm.
Show some common decency.
Who are we talking about that runs the broadcast of the tournament again?
Well, I mean, who's outside of FIFA and the Olympic? I mean, the Olympic Committee.
Mm-hmm.
Who's more corrupt than the NCAA is?
Well, that's about all you can say about that.
We just recently saw the World Cup. That was about as corrupt as you can get by playing in the Middle East. Whatever.
Yep.
You're building gigantic stadiums in the middle of the dead summer. It was 150 degrees,
mm-hmm.
and you're taking money left and right from these oil barons who treat women and kids and other minorities as poorly as you could possibly be treated.
Yep.
And then the Olympic Committee is as corrupt as anybody could possibly get.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody that talks out of both sides of their mouth more than the NCAA does.
No one. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it, man. And it's awful. It is god awful the way they're being treated. It's awful. It's crazy. Your thoughts on let's switch gears. Your thoughts on Justin Fields being traded to the Steelers?
I'm a little surprised he got traded to the Steelers, but it sounds like there was not much of a market for him.
No, there wasn't.
And then the Steelers just absolutely cleaned house at quarterback in the last week or two. I mean, they started with Rudolph, Pickett, and Trubisky. They're all playing with other teams now, or going to play with other teams now. And then you trade for Russell Wilson, and then 24 hours later, they trade for Justin Fields.
What is wrong with this picture?
That's crazy.
How are they going to handle this?
You follow the NFL like I do. It's so anti-Steelers to do stuff like this.
It is.
They usually are so under the radar. You never hear anything that they do.
And you see these moves and you think, what? The Steelers are making these moves. The Steelers are being active.
And not only are they active in the trade market, they're active in the free agency market.
They're active. Yeah, they're absolutely active in the free agency market. Now, as far as the quarterback position goes for Pittsburgh, how does this benefit them?
Well, if Russell's any good, and who knows with the way he's played the last 3 years, if they fix this offensive line, which apparently they have with some of these moves they made, I mean, they could be pretty good. But they did trade. Well, it sounds like it was like addition by subtraction by getting rid of Deontay Johnson. Of course, what does it tell you that he goes to the Panthers? Shocking. David Tepper again.
David Tepper again.
David
Is
Tepper.
he ever gonna get booted out? No. Okay.
No. Don't want he ever get
I know
booted
the
out.
answer. I know the answer to that question, but I had to pick the low hanging fruit. I had to.
I mean, what? I mean, it took an army to get rid of Jerry Richardson after what he did.
It did. It did. And that's bad. It's bad that the Panthers have been set back so far. And
I don't
like
care.
you
I
said,
don't care how much money. I don't care how much money David Tepper has. He's a bad owner in every sport he owns.
Which free agency signing has surprised you so far? Good, bad, good surprise, bad surprise, whatever.
I wouldn't say I'm not going to say one particular, but I will say, for whatever reason the market and for whatever, I guess it's more analytics. As you know, I loathe analytics.
Oh man,
on how much disrespect top-notch running backs get. Them, especially the first day or two of free agency last week, when they were signing left and right. I mean, you look at Barkley and Derrick Henry and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't have seen that in the last couple of years.
And then the tampering charge, the tampering charges were alleged.
Well, even if that is the case,
and for Saquon Barkley.
Even if that is the case, I mean, what are they going to do? The Eagles, punish them like it was a 6th round pick or something.
What? I don't know.
Or give Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, $1 million fine. Do you think he cares about $1 million fine?
Drop in the bucket.
That's nothing for him.
Big time drop. It's a drop in the bucket.
These NFL owners are making money hand over fist. I mean, I think I may have told you this, but I told somebody this. When they came out with the salary cap number right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was like $32 million per team over what they expected. Per team.
Yep. Per team.
What does that tell you about how much money this league makes?
Crazy.
You could really change your team a lot with $32 million extra.
Well, we got a question in the Fanatics feedback zone. Play-by-play with JJ, aka Jason Joseph, says, do you believe that Stephen A. Smith is going to leave ESPN? Me? No, because he's getting too much dirty money right now.
Well, he's getting $10 million a year. Why would he leave?
And of course, now he has a YouTube channel, and that's exploded. I don't know how or why. I mean, I don't know how or why.
Listen, I respect Stephen A. for what he does. He went to college in the city I live. And he actually worked where I used to work for a little while. So I knew him very little. I doubt he would even remember me, but I remember him a little bit because we started about the same time.
Yeah.
I doubt he would even remember me. But still, I do respect that. But I do think a lot of times he just wants to hear himself yell.
That's what I believe. That's exactly what I believe. Man, it's stupid to me. That's not. You wonder why. I said this a few years ago. You've heard me say it. You've heard me post it. And you wonder why his show failed 3 times.
Well, he's all over the place on there. And he's the problem over there. Where it's nothing but NBA and NFL on ESPN.
They cover nothing else.
For him, boxing or ultimate fighting.
If you want to look at it that way, I mean, we know that Four Letter Network is never going to fix all their problems. They don't want to even look at them.
Well, we're looking at 10 days away from the real opening day, even though technically opening day is on Wednesday. And they won't even talk about it, I bet you.
We will hear. I got
they're showing games on next Thursday when opening day is, and they won't care the least about it.
Nope.
You watch Get Up and the other show, and then Stephen A. show. They won't say it. I don't watch it either. But I guarantee they won't say a word about baseball.
Nope. And Steven claims to be a Yankee fan. He doesn't talk about it much.
Well, if you watch ESPN, all they talk about is the Yankees and Red Sox. And what have those two teams done recently? Nothing.
Not a thing. Not a thing.
You watch it all the time, and those two teams finished 4th and 5th last year, respectively.
And they were showing everyone.
And they're still showing them like they're going to win a division. No. The Orioles are the best team in the division. I don't care what people say.
Mm-hmm.
They act like the Orioles are going to drop off a cliff. No, they're not.
No, they won't. They won't.
You win 102 games one year, and you got as much talent, if not more, than you did last season, and you got more coming up.
And they barely talked about the Rangers.
No,
barely.
Never.
They never talked about the Rangers, and the Rangers won the damn thing.
Well, their coverage of MLB is so diluted they don't care. And then when you watch the game, I've gotten to the point when I watch their Sunday night games, or even when they have like opening day, I'm sure they'll do the same thing. I can't listen to the announcers because all they talk about is analytics. I don't care.
It's awful.
I just don't care.
Nor do I.
Just talk about the game.
They don't even do that.
So
talk about the game. That's too much like right for them.
I'll just mute it. I cannot deal with that garbage.
I can't either, and I don't. That's why I do it my way. And people think I'm nuts for saying that, but I don't care. I really don't care. You're supposed to call the game, and they don't.
It's nothing but analytics, and it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see with my own eyes what's going on. I don't care what a computer's telling me.
I never did. I abhor analytics.
Oh, me too.
I despise analytics.
And nobody's going to convince me. And I'm not even talking about just baseball. This has become pervasive in every sport.
It has.
And you get a lot of people in these organizations who really are not sports fans or even very knowledgeable about sports. They're either coming from Harvard and Stanford and Yale. They don't know, but they're coming in here with this analytics garbage. And these managers and owners and coaches believe this junk.
I would ask how and why, but I know better than to ask that question.
It's like an NBA game. Why are 5'7" footers shooting 3-pointers all night long?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, why?
How sports has changed. And
there's zero defense in the NBA anymore.
None.
I mean, every game's like 140 to 130 down.
Mm-hmm. And it won't get any better. It just won't get any better. And that's sad.
Nope.
That's absolutely sad that it won't get any better. All right, we got to go. Jey Spivey joining us here on the program, talking everything NCAA and also talking everything that has to do with the deletion of analytics. Please get rid of analytics. Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I will never in life use analytics for whatever sport I broadcast, be it football, basketball, baseball, or hockey. I never will. I go off of a gut feeling, and I go with what my eyes tell me. My eyes are telling me that we got to get the hell out of here. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big. Do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Catch the replay on WJKS as well as WQEE in Atlanta. So long, everybody. back with more free agent stuff tomorrow. See you then.